Hi everyone. Who's in this box? Mr. Jackson. And how do we get him out of this box? Sing his song. Shall we do that? Would you like to sing it with me? Ready? Wake up, Mr. Jackson. It's such a lovely day. Wake up, Mr. Jackson. Would you like to play? Wake up, Mr. Jackson. It's such a lovely day. Wake up, Mr. Jackson. Would you like to play? Now, I need you to shout very loudly, wake up, Mr. Jackson. So I'll say 1, 2, 3, and then everyone with really loud voices, wake up, Mr. Jackson. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Wake up, Mr. Jackson. Oh, no. You have to be louder than that. Really loud, okay? Really loud. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Wake up, Mr. Jackson. That's better. Oh, who's waking me up, making all that noise? Who's making me wake up? Oh, Mr. Jackson, you haven't got your clothes on. Look, these children, they've got their clothes on, haven't they? And I don't come to your story without my clothes on, do I? And the grown-ups don't come to listen to your story without their clothes on, do they? So Mr. Jackson, what are you doing without your clothes on every single time? I have to remind him. Okay, you sit there for a minute, Mr. Jackson, please. Now let's find out who's going to help me to put Mr. Jackson's clothes on. So we need to take a name from the names out box to see who's going to help. Let's see whose name comes out today. Put that away. Whose name is this? It's Nancy. Well done, Nancy. So Nancy, you get to pretend to help me to put Mr. Jackson's clothes on. And also, if you want to think of an idea for a story, you can send that in to Chloe or Mel or Miriam, and then we'll see if we can do your idea. So that's going to go now into the names inbox, so we know that Nancy's had her turn. It goes, which is fair. And now Nancy, I'm going to hand you, ready, Mr. Jackson? Honestly, Mr. Jackson. I'm going to hand that to you, Nancy. There you go. And then you can help me to put this on him. Ready? Whoop. Put that on his head. There we go. And now we're ready to have a Mr. Jackson story. So, today's story is called Mr. Jackson and the Tale of the Tail. So one day Mr. Jackson was in his kitchen and he was having his breakfast as usual, and he just poured himself a nice cup of chamomile tea when he heard somebody coming down the garden path. Dippy dilly, I'm so silly, dippy dilly, ha ha ha. Dippy dilly, I'm so silly, dippy dilly, ha ha ha. And Dippy Dilly burst into Mr. Jackson's kitchen. Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson. And Mr. Jackson said, Dippy Dilly, what are you saying? I can't understand you. Dippy Dilly said, "Oh, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson said, Dippy Dilly, slow down. You're talking too quickly. I can't understand you. And Dippy Dilly said, "Oh, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, I can't. Oh, Dippy Dilly, remember your ready list." Of course, Dippy Dilly couldn't remember his ready list. So let's see if you can help him. Ready? Stop. See. So Dippy Dilly began to look around. He spotted something over by the table. Breathe. Soft and tall. And then go. And Dippy Dilly said, "Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, oh, a terrible thing has happened outside. There's a really, really sad squirrel called No Tail who's crying and needs our help. Come on, Mr. Jackson, we have to go out and help her right now. Let's go and find her." So Mr. Jackson said, "Oh dear, Dippy Dilly, that does sound serious. Let's go outside and see if we can find No Tail." So Mr. Jackson and Dippy Dilly went outside. "Come on, Mr. Jackson and Dippy Dilly, let's go outside." So Mr. Jackson and Dippy Dilly went out into Sue's garden to look for No Tail. They looked all around, but they couldn't see anyone. But then, along came Dorothea Bee. Mr. Jackson said, "Dorothea Bee, have you seen No Tail?" "No, sorry. I am busy collecting nectar. Why don't you ask Linda Ladybird?" "Look, there she is on the laundry." "Oh, hello, Mr. Jackson. How are you?" "Linda Ladybird, have you seen No Tail the squirrel?" "Oh, no, I'm so sorry, Mr. Jackson. I've been eating aphids. Very tasty. But you might like to ask Peggy the reindeer over there on the lawn. Excuse me now. Must eat some more aphids. Thanks, Linda Ladybird. Now, where could Peggy be? Can you see her, children?" There she is. There she is. Look, Dippy Dilly, can you see Peggy the reindeer?" "Yes, Mr. Jackson, I can. Shall I go and speak to her?" "Well, that would be great, Dippy Dilly. If you can go down there and ask her if she's seen No Tail, please." "Okay, Mr. Jackson, I will." So Dippy Dilly went off down the garden to see Peggy the reindeer. But Peggy the reindeer wasn't so helpful. "Oh, no, very sorry. I have not seen any squirrels. Why don't you ask Kelly Kingfisher?" "Where is she?" asked Dippy Dilly. "On the edge of the pond." But Dippy Dilly couldn't see Kelly the Kingfisher. Where is she? Where is she? "Oh, I can't see her, I can't see her." And he got a little bit panicky. Then he remembered to stop and see carefully and breathe and let himself become soft and tall. And then, he could see her. "There, Mr. Jackson, there she is." Excuse me," said Mr. Jackson. "Oh, do be quiet. I'm trying to fish. Sorry, I just wondered if you'd seen No Tail. I have no interest in squirrels whatsoever. Ganesh might be able to help you. He's over by the fountain." "Oh, okay, thank you. Now do go away." Well, that was a little bit rude, wasn't it, children? Let's see if we can see Ganesh, though. He's like an elephant with a person's body. Who's that over there? Can you see him? Can you see him? There he is. Let's go over there and speak to him. So Mr. Jackson and Dippy Dilly went to see Ganesh. "Hello, Ganesh," they said. "Oh, hello, Mr. Jackson and Dippy Dilly. My goodness, said Mr. Jackson, this is beautiful here. Thank you. We wondered, actually, if you'd seen No-Tail the squirrel, said Dippy Dilly. No, I'm sorry, said Ganesh, but maybe you should go and ask the Buddha over there under the tree. Oh, thank you. So Mr. Jackson and Dippy Dilly looked all around very carefully to see if they could spot the Buddha. Can you see him, children? There he is there, look, in the corner of the garden. So Mr. Jackson hurried over, and when he got there he found that the Buddha was sitting very peacefully in meditation. So Mr. Jackson approached quietly and sat down in some nearby ferns. And then he looked at the Buddha and he said, Excuse me, dear Buddha, I would like to ask you, have you seen No-Tail the squirrel? And the Buddha said, Om, look up into the tree. So Mr. Jackson looked up high into the tree. What was that? Something seemed to fall out of the tree, and then suddenly he saw something else fall out of the tree. There it goes. What was that? Look, children, it's No-Tail the squirrel. She must have fallen out of the tree. Oh, she said, I'm so sad. Mr. Jackson came out and said, Oh, No-Tail, why are you crying? Because I've got no tail, she said, and it makes me so sad. Oh, Mr. Jackson said, please don't cry. Why don't you come to our house and maybe we can help you? But the idea of going to Mr. Jackson's house was just too exciting for the other person who'd fallen out of the tree, the very irritating squeaky squirrel, who was asking, Can I come to your house, Mr. Jackson, too? Please, 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 can I come, Mr. Jackson, please, can I come? So when they got back inside, the very irritating squeaky squirrel was very busily, stop, quiet, calm down, calm. Yes, I'm telling you a story, be quiet. No, both of you, please, shush. Let's tell the story, okay? So when they got back inside, the very irritating squeaky squirrel had decided that he would come up with some new items for No-Tail's new tail. And they were very excited about this idea, and they went off to set up a No-Tail fashion show. Be quiet, you two. Welcome to the very irritating squirrel's spring fashion show. And here's No-Tail modelling the latest tail. Actually, that looks like... Is that my banana? Is that the banana that you guys pinched from me? I wondered where that had gone. Oh, and so now here comes No-Tail in the next tail, which is... looks actually like my toothbrush from the bathroom. No-Tail, that's my toothbrush from the bathroom. Would you go and put it back, please? Irritating squeaky squirrel, what are you thinking? And now here comes No-Tail with the next beautiful spring tail for us to see. And it's a carrot. No, No-Tail, a carrot. It doesn't work. In any case, that's for my dinner. So now here comes No-Tail with another beautiful spring fashion tail. And this time, it looks like it's going to be a sausage. Oh, yuck. Hey guys, I'm a vegetarian. I don't want to see a sausage, thanks very much. Maybe you can find something better than that. I really don't think this is working, very irritating squeaky squirrel. Okay, and finally, here comes No-Tail with a very, very beautiful washing up brush from the kitchen. How am I going to wash my dishes without the washing up brush? Oh my goodness. No-Tail, this isn't working. I don't think any of these tails are good. No, I'm sorry. I know you're feeling sad, but it doesn't work. Sorry, No-Tail. After the fashion show had finished, poor No-Tail went off on her own and felt very, very sad. "What?" said the very irritating squeaky squirrel. "What's the matter, No-Tail? No-Tail, No-Tail, what's the matter?" And No-Tail said, "Oh, very irritating squeaky squirrel, I'm so sad. None of those tails look good. I'm never going to find a tail. I'll always be No-Tail." "Oh," said the very irritating squeaky squirrel. "Shall I tell you a secret?" "Yes, what is it?" said No-Tail. "I like it best when you have no tail. I think that you look very beautiful without a tail." "Oh," and No-Tail said, "Do you really?" And the very irritating squeaky squirrel said, "Yes, it's so unusual to have no tail. You're special." "Thank you," said No-Tail. "Oh, I do love you, very irritating squeaky squirrel. And I love you, No-Tail." "Well," said Mr. Jackson, "that story had a happy ending." "Yes, it did," said Dippy Dilly. "And you know what, Mr. Jackson? Sometimes that very irritating squeaky squirrel can be very irritating." "Oh, yes, I know," said Mr. Jackson. "But sometimes he can be very kind as well. And I thought he was very kind to No-Tail, didn't you?" "Yes, I did," said Mr. Jackson. "And also, he was right. No-Tail's beautiful just as she is. Just like you're beautiful, just as you are, Dippy Dilly." "Oh, thank you, Mr. Jackson." Mwah! So, Mr. Jackson and Dippy Dilly said goodbye to No-Tail and the very irritating squeaky squirrel. And now it's time to put Mr. Jackson back in his bed. So let's find out who's going to help me to put him to bed. And we'll see whose name comes out of the names out box. And also, whoever this is, you get the chance to think up a story if you would like to. Oops, let me get their name out. Here we go. Let's see who this is. Are you ready? And the name is Tallulah. Well done, Tallulah. So I'm going to put your name into the names inbox so we know you've had a turn. And if you can help me to take Mr. Jackson's clothes off. There you go. Pull that off. And don't forget, this also means you get, if you want to think of a story, you get the chance to send that idea in, and we'll see if we can do the story. So, oops, here's Mr. Jackson's box. There he is. Okay, so we put Mr. Jackson back in his box, put his clothes back in, put his lid back on. Oops. Label's coming off, and we say goodbye, Mr. Jackson.